Social media, where everyone is having a grand time. Hello, fellow HSPs. I'm a highly sensitive introvert who has forced herself to use social media to her advantage despite the odds. But how? If you have a love-hate relationship with social media, stick around. Let's get down to the facts first. Why is social media so exhausting for the HSP? Well, because number one, it has the word social in it. Whether you're a consumer or a creator, social media is not exactly the virtual safe space for introverts and HSPs that it has been alleged. Exposing yourself to social media is still a form of extroverting. Whenever you post something, you're opening up this pathway for all this feedback to come in. And you might feel the urge to respond to every single message. Or some comments might be so upsetting that you spend all day trying not to let it affect you. These are costly energy transactions, especially for the highly sensitive person. On the consumer end of social media, it can be draining too because of how easily we get overstimulated. Overconsuming social media often leads to loss of focus and even irritability for me. It's also emotionally draining because of the high level of empathy that the highly sensitive person tends to feel for the stories we encounter online. Reading about someone's personal struggles can linger with us all day, even when they're complete strangers and there's absolutely nothing we can do to help. Sometimes we can't help but to compare ourselves to the non-HSPs out there who seem to be living such outgoing, energetic lives, if you believe their socials. We know that we could never keep up, and might even question if we're doing something wrong by being less active or outgoing. This mental toil drains us even more. So that begs the obvious question: why use social media at all? Nowadays it's kind of hard not to, because everyone expects you to have a presence online. It's used to assess people for business relations, brand promotions, job interviews, and even just to see whether you seem trustworthy or a total creep. It's also a great tool for sharing powerful messages and art with the world. And of course, staying in touch with family and friends and letting them know what you've been up to. Honestly, I wasn't much of a social media consumer until I became a content creator. I had to learn fast and hard, and it wasn't easy. But I'll share my insights with you that I'm sure you can relate to. And hopefully it'll help you find a healthier balance with social media. This might surprise you, but putting myself out there does not come natural to me. I prefer to observe more than I participate. And too much attention threatens my energy reserves. At first I opened up a Facebook account just to stay in touch with friends. And I had an Instagram account that I never posted a single thing on. Until recently, I still had no idea how or even why to use hashtags. I had no reason to. But in order to stand out as an actress and artist, I realized that I should learn to play the social media game. The upside of platforms like Instagram, for me, is creative expression. I love being creative and sharing my work with the world. But on the downside, when I see how much content is already out there, I think, what's the point of even trying to get noticed between it all? But putting the existential dilemma aside, here are some practical ways that I have managed to survive in the virtual world. Follow the wave. Inspiration comes and goes. So when you're feeling inspired, create as much as you can and save some for later. This way you'll always have material in stock for when you're not inspired or feel a little bit burnt out. Don't feel bad about creating less. It's not you, it's the algorithm. Sometimes I'm creating 2 videos for YouTube a week and posting on Instagram every single day, and then suddenly the world doesn't hear from me for 2 weeks. I don't feel like I'm the problem here. I blame the algorithm, because it's the algorithm's need for constant attention that makes it so hard for us HSPs to gain momentum. In the end, it comes down to a choice. Win the game at all costs and risk a burnout, or have patience at reaching your goals and play at your own pace. Silence notifications. My phone is always on silent, and I don't receive any notifications from any apps. Even those little red dot notifications on Instagram that you've received a message that I can't seem to turn off drive me absolutely nuts. I'm ignoring it on purpose. If you find it hard to control your use of social media apps, set a limit to your daily use. Most apps allow for this option, and the app will remind you when your time is up. Choose your exposure wisely. If you're following an account that makes you feel like somehow your life is less than, it's probably a good idea to unfollow them for a little while and focus on more uplifting sources of inspiration. Create separate accounts for business and personal use. This way you can easily avoid being overwhelmed by the demanding professional world when you want to casually engage with friends and family. Get ready for this one. No TikTok. Ever. I actually created an account this year and even posted a couple of videos just to have the option. But I won't ever look at any posts. TikTok feels to me like what I imagine it would feel like to, get like a seizure. I short circuit. And Twitter? Tried it. Can't do it. And finally, does news count as social media? Well, I'm gonna name it anyway. People always tell me what's going on in the world, whether I want to hear it or not. So there's no need to read or watch the news. And especially when it's a situation that I can't do anything about. I'd often rather not know, because it can upset me to the point where I can be depressed about it for days. I can't help it. News affects me on a deep level. Sure, it's not easy not knowing what's going on in the world, and I might feel like I'm judged for it or feel ignorant about it, but I know why I do it. I will be a wordless, depleted zombie if I don't protect myself a little from all the crappy news out there. I always come back to this, but mindfulness matters. When I lean towards a more mindful life, the social media pull has less of an effect. And I'm referring to anything from spirituality to emotional well-being and physical fitness. To be more mindful about your social media usage, start with awareness. Notice when you are reaching for social media. What need are you trying to satisfy? Is it maybe boredom, curiosity, lack of inspiration? Then pause and reflect how it's affecting you. Do you have a short fuse after browsing the socials? Are your muscles tensed up? Are you emotionally drained? And finally, change the action for a less stimulating or triggering one. Read a book, go for a walk, color a mandala. Just do what makes you happy. And if social media is making you miserable, step back from it unapologetically. I hope there were some helpful kernels in this video for you. Feel free to share in the comments what you struggle with most as an HSP. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Te otrobia. See you next time. And do something today that energizes you. Welcome to another HSP special, where it will rain through my entire video. Oh. And sharing my work with the world. To be or not to be mindful. So why am I all dressed up for the occasion?